Please enjoy this LifeLine Master Series with Sunny Dawn Johnston. Hey, Sunny, infinite love and gratitude.
Hey, how are you, Darren?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of the LifeLine Master Series. I am so excited to connect with you today, as our vision in the LifeLine Master Series is to highlight people that are making a wave in the world, a positive impact, a ripple of love that is influencing people in a really positive, life-affirming, loving way. And you, my dear friend, are one of those awesome people. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks for that. That's awesome. I love making a wave.
Yeah.
I can't ride a wave, but I'll make one for sure.
That is one of my dreams, is to one day be a surf instructor. So
really,
that's on my bucket list, is to ride those waves and teach other people how to do it as well.
All right. Awesome. I'm going to do it virtually.
There we go. Well, I want to, for people that may be new to you, which would be surprising because, man, you have just been rocking it out. I'd love just to give just a quick overview of all the awesome things that you're doing. You're an internationally renowned psychic medium. You're a teacher, you're an author, you're a motivational speaker. And you were born in an amazing place, Cheyenne, Wyoming. And you spent the majority of your childhood there growing up and just rocking it out. And you have best-selling books, 15 best-selling books that you've authored: Invoking the Archangels, 9-Step Process to Heal Your Body, Mind, and Soul, No Mistakes, Living Your Purpose, Find Me and the Love Never Ends, Messages from the Other Side, just rocking it out. And you and I met through Celebrate Your Life, Liz, Dawn, and Celebrate Your Life. And that connection through Celebrate Your Life has been one of the most incredible things for me. And meeting you is definitely one of the golden nuggets. And last year at the incredible celebration, you and I sang next to each other.
We did. We did. I loved it. It was so fun, wasn't it?
One heart, one song, right?
I loved it. I've always wanted. See, you want to ride the wave. I want to be a singer. That's like, I just don't quite have the exact voice other people want to hear, but I love it anyway. So
your voice is amazing. I, on the other hand, am not known for my singing ability. And
nor am I, buddy. My husband was like, "You're what?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna sing. We're gonna be like recorded singers for a song." He's like, "Really?"
It was an amazing moment in one single day of practice, and Barry Goldstein coming together and his genius, and Liz orchestrating it and her way of just being the amazing leader that she is.
Yeah.
We really rocked it out. It was just such an amazing thing. And I just love feeling your energy, next to me as we just sang from our hearts and just gave that message of oneness and love and teaching people, positive consciousness. And really that's what the LifeLine Master Series is all about. It's, what is a day in the life of someone who's choosing to show up? What kind of practices do people that create a successful vision for themselves, what kind of practices, do they implement? And so I would love, just to hear from you, what's a day in the life of Sunny Dawn Johnston?
Wow. Well, every day is different. That's for sure. And that's really true. Like, my schedule is set that way because I don't like to just have monotony, I guess. So every day is different. There are some things that are foundational, though, that I do every single day that are consistent. And that starts as soon as I wake up. My kind of morning time, that first, few minutes, half hour, depending on how I feel, is really about making that connection to spirit and honoring that part within me that's having, this this spiritual being that's having this physical experience. And so meditation is critical for me and has been for the last 16 years. So I take some time to do that. I do an exercise in opening myself up to receive. One of the challenges in my life has been to shut down, disconnect, separate, protect. And so I found that to be a really important practice for me, to be open, to trust the process of the universe every morning. So I literally open my arms and allow, that energy in. That's been really critical for me. The other thing I do in the morning is I invoke my angels, because I'm an angel girl. So I call in my angels, specifically Archangel Michael, every morning to help me to maintain my own energy, because I am very sensitive. I have a tendency to feel everybody's stuff, and even, just the energy of where we are in our world at any given time. So learning how to maintain and hold my own vibration has been really, really helpful in my journey for the last 15, 16 years. And then I say, okay, I'm ready. How may I serve? And then I go, oh shit, that's the way today. That's what we're doing. Okay, cool. Thank you. So, and then when I hit my floor, I say thank you.
So this is all in your bed. You wait your first waking breath. Here you are, and you go into a state of meditation. It's nothing fancy with incense or candles, or you got a sacred pillow that you're sitting on. You're lying down horizontal, and you're invoking Archangel Michael, and you're in this place of receiving. And then you've done more in the first 20 minutes of your day than most people do all day. So right there, you're showing it up.
Yeah. Well, and I have to do it. I'm an Aries, and so my feet hit the floor and I'm out. So if I don't do it before I actually start my day, I know my personality and I just won't do it. So it's either you do it before you get to start, or you're not getting out of bed, basically, for me. And I've had to recognize that. I learned these things when I was a teenager. So I knew what to do for a long time, but I pushed against it for a long time because I wasn't consistent. And that's what I was saying, the last 15, 16 years, that's when I got consistent with it. And it's not pretty. It's not any sacred space. Half the time my dog is laying on me, and my other dog is, bumping up against me, and my husband's snoring. And, it's certainly nothing fancy at all. But what it is sacred.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, is it's my way of honoring and always intending to acknowledge spirit first, because it's not usually a pretty day when it's Sunny's head first. I really need that connection first, and then I can create my day. Because some of the days, and it doesn't mean that there aren't times where something happens and I fly out of bed, and those days never really work so good.
Wow. Well, I love that you go old school on that way, and that you just show up and you make that a positive ritual for you. I'm curious, as far as just what you said, that in your teenage years you learned to do this. What about your teenage years, brought you into creating a practice like this?
Oh boy. Well, so, at 13, I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw my guardian angel above my bed. And I didn't know that's what it was, really. I just felt this overwhelming sense of love and gratitude and oneness. But I didn't understand it, but I wasn't scared of it. It was a very different, I can still feel it every single time I say it. And so I just literally felt so at peace. I rolled over and went back to sleep. And then when I woke up in the morning, I'm like, okay, wait. Then I was like, oh my God, what was that? What happened? And so I went downstairs and I told my mom, and she said, well, Sunny, that was your guardian angel. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay. I don't think I have them. I was pretty sure I didn't, because I was kind of the victim mentality teenager. And I'm like, nobody likes me, and that kind of thing.
But your mom was confident in addressing, no, that was your guardian angel. So you grew up in an environment where your parents supported a spiritual consciousness.
Yes. But I also, and then the reason that she was so clear on it is because she had come in that night, the first time she'd ever done this, came in that night at 11 o'clock. I woke up at 1 because I looked at the clock, and she prayed over me. And she asked God and the angels to keep me safe and protect me because she was concerned about my emotional state.
I've got full chills right now. That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she knew then. I had awakened to the manifestation of her prayer.
Wow.
And then that was what opened the door for me. Now, so you mentioned I was raised in Cheyenne. I was born in Cheyenne, but I was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay. So my environment, my family environment was very, very religious on both sides. But my parents both had left the religion. So my mother was very spiritual, but it was very much, we had to keep it just hidden, really, especially in that environment. So yes, it was safe in my house to talk about angels and spirituality, but you don't talk about it outside of your house.
Wow.
Yeah. So that opened the door. And then once that door was open, I didn't really even believe in angels because I didn't have any kind of religious background, but I was like, okay, well, I don't care what it was. Whatever it was, I know it was good. So I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know how to do it. I was just like, okay, I want more of that. Whoever you are, wherever you are. Like, okay, cool. Like, I want to feel that again. And I started to have experiences where I would feel that again. And then I started to see, and then I started seeing spirits around people, and I started seeing spirits in our house. And then I was like, oh my God. And it just opened this door. And so I started learning, about connecting and meditation and all of those things. But in that, I had this really major struggle with my own value. And so I would be like, oh, that's so cool. It feels so good. I don't deserve it. Mm. Oh, that's so cool. I really want to experience that because, oh my gosh, it's the best I've ever felt in my life. You're not really good enough for that. So I did that dance for 15 years. And I'd like to say that I got it sooner, but I knew about it, and I would tap in, and I would have some amazing experiences, and then my ego would pop up and it would say, you're not good enough, Sonny, and you shouldn't have this, and why are you so special, and all of those types of things that would just when I would just go right back to where I was. So that dance I did for a very long time, and I think that's one of the reasons why now it's so important to me to have that consistency in my life, because I know that, and I'm not concerned about it happening today after this many years, but I know that was the only way that I got out of that hole was to show up every day, every freaking day.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And that it's how we learn from the hole that we're in is we're in it. And the only way out is being in it and recognizing it and seeing the pattern of it. There's my mind's swirling with questions right now, but one is because I'm not sure what to call them because I connect to a energy field and a consciousness that is so beautiful, so bright. They speak to me. I'm able to tap into them. I had a moment when they first came through, and I call it my entourage, but what is the difference between, as you're saying, this is my spirit guide, this is Archangel Michael, here's spirits that I'm seeing in a room. What's the difference?
I think it's the difference in vibration. That's exactly what you just did, vibration. So like our loved ones that have passed, they have a denser vibration. It's just a lower vibration. So as physical beings, we're actually the lowest because we have the bodies. And then when we drop the body, that vibration raises, but because of the experience they've had, there's still just some density in that. The next vibration are spirit guides. The next is the angels and the archangels, the ascended masters, light beings, which is probably what you're likely connecting with. The God of your understanding, whatever that looks like to each individual person. And so it's differences in vibration. So the energy of deceased people, when I've connected with them, there's more of a physical feeling with them, where the angelic realm is very, woo, it's a higher heightened vibration. So it really is about just vibrational energy. And you don't usually recognize it at the beginning. And really, even though I've written books about it, it doesn't really matter. It's all good, so you don't have to separate it because we're all one anyway, right? We don't have to separate it, but a lot of times our head wants to understand who, what, where, when, why.
Yeah.
And so we can organize it that way for ourselves. But, in reality, is it necessary? I don't think so. But I think that it helps us to relate, to connect, to trust those connections that we're having.
And so when it comes to Sunny Dawn Johnston, who is a very sensitive person, and that you need to begin your day with certain rituals that you follow as far as meditation, open to receive, being in this place that if you don't, that the head is not going to create the best day. Having these rituals and having this connection that you were aware of at 13, your take on stress, the meaning of stress in a person's life, like, physical, emotional, spiritual stress. What is stress to you?
Stress for me is the lack of connection. And that might sound simple, but it's not. It doesn't feel simple, but I feel like it's a disconnect from who we really are. When we are in absolute trust and connectedness here, we don't have stress. And it doesn't mean that we can live there 24/7. I mean, I guess we could, but we probably wouldn't have a body any longer, right? The body wouldn't necessarily serve us. So we still have those experiences. But I think that it's when the more disconnected we are, the more stress there is. And the less disconnected we are, and the more connected we are, the more stress there is. And then the more connected we are, the less stress there is. So in those moments, the reason I'm starting my day that way is because that energy supports me throughout the day. And sometimes I may need to go, okay, son, come on, let's pull yourself back in. Let's connect again. And then I can just breathe and go, all right, because I do think that things are happening I believe things are happening for me, not to me. And I believe that things are happening for my highest good and that everything is happening for a reason, even if I don't like the reasons sometimes. And sometimes I for sure do not like the reasons. But when I pull in and I connect, the feelings of the stress release and the trust engages. And for me, it's really working on being in a space of openness and trust as much as possible. It's not constant. I couldn't say that. Might be nice, but I couldn't say that. But it's certainly, it feels better to me because I think when I get disconnected, then I make up stories about all kinds of reasons why things are happening, and a lot of it's bullshit anyway, and I get judgmental and critical and angry and frustrated, and I blame, and that doesn't ever feel good to me. So I've just chosen to recognize that and try to not try to and to create something that works for me most of the time. In really heightened situations, I can still have those reactions and things. We're human.
Yeah.
But I think at least we're laying the foundation.
Yeah. It's amazing. Oh my God, there was 18 pearls right there. There were. And pain, fear, and stress is a part of life. Mm-hmm. It's wild in the human world. I mean, North Pole, South Pole, male, female, positive, negative. A cell in the body, once it has equilibrium, is a dead cell. And you're right. We won't be in our physical body when we're in that heightened space all the time. But I love it. And I want to repeat what you said. Things are happening for me, not to me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a game changer to maybe write on a plaque and put on your wall if you're listening to this. Things are happening for me, not to me. That's a Master Series quote. It's awesome. I love it. And
it's so important, I think, because when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel stressed, and it's very easy to get into that victim mentality. And when we're in that energy of, everything's against me or nothing's working out or what have you, we get so stuck in that energy that we can't see the light. We can't see the love. We don't experience really the truth of who we are. Gets buried in there somewhere. And absolutely, I am not saying it's easy, but we didn't sign up for easy. No. We're the A-class students. Those of us that came here were like, hey, pick me, So we didn't sign up for easy. So yeah, it's not easy, but it is when you can pull yourself into remembrance of that, I guess, then you start to look for those positive aspects. And there is. I know people don't like this answer, and I'm okay if they don't like it, but there are positives to everything. There are. You have to sometimes search really deep and lift up underneath and look in the back, but there is. So for me, it works better to look for that.
I love that answer.
Cool. Well, good.
I call them gifts in strange wrapping paper.
Yes.
It's it. And, there's not a problem. There's only a portal to the next greatest expression of ourself. Yeah. And as far as the greatest expression of yourself, as far as your passion for life, your purpose, your calling, what does that mean to you? What kind of vision do you have for yourself and the world that we're a part of?
Oh, man.
I'm just keeping it small.
Yeah, you are. I'm like, shoot. Okay. Well, I guess I tend to simplify things. I think that for me, it's to show up every day in the truth of who I am in that day. So purpose, like the bigger purpose of things, I think that purpose can get so lost. It feels so big and so overwhelming, and people are always trying to search for it. And see, I think it's in this moment right now with you.
Damn.
Is purpose. And in a couple of hours when I'm seeing a client, that's purpose. And I'm in my purpose when I'm in the moment appreciating it. But when I'm in the moment thinking about what I'm going to do next, then I lose sight of the actual purpose. And I think if we all got into that place, instead of being so far down the road, and I know what that's like because I've lived it, that's why I know. I think we would be a much happier, joyful, present, purposeful society.
Yeah. That present time consciousness would be world peace to inner peace.
Absolutely.
It would be. It's amazing. So let me ask you a question. I'm curious to know, as far as if you're aware of this or not, but were there, as you said, there's no bad things or wrong things. There's things that just feel bad or feel wrong. There's something good in everything. Would you say that there was one of those moments, let's call it a defining moment for you, where you lived through something that you recognize, oh, yeah, I'm not a victim of my body, my life, someone else, even though I might have been victimized? Would you say, because for you to make a statement like that, I mean, it's an enlightened statement. Present time consciousness, being present in the moment. Would you say that there was a defining moment for you?
Yeah, I'd say I've had several. Apparently, I needed to redefine it. Yes, I think, a couple of things come up. The first thing that came to me as you were talking was, and I don't know if this answers the question, but it was just such a powerful moment. I was 3 years old, and I was I lived in the Philippines, and it was Easter weekend. It was Good Friday, actually. And my dad had taken me down just to go to the market. And when we went to the market, he put me on his shoulders like he always did. and they were actually having a parade for Easter. And so there were a whole bunch of people that were filling the road. They were just walking down the dirt road, just hundreds and hundreds of people. And so we went to the market, but my dad's 6'5", so I was, 7 foot something, right? And I could see everybody. And then there was something that was like way taller than me. And so I told him at 3 years old, Daddy, look, and we walked over there, and he didn't know what it was. They actually had somebody crucified, like
a real person.
A real person.
Oh boy.
Hanging on the cross that was being carried down the road. And I was 3. And what that defining moment was for me is what my dad said to me was, because I didn't understand. I was like, why is that person in there bleeding? And then I can't remember how many miles, because they did this for a long time, but every so many miles, someone else would volunteer to be the person crucified. So they would trade them out. Yeah, honest, this is true. And then there were people laid down all along the side of the road with thorn crowns, and had whipped themselves to just bloodiness. And I know that that's strong, but there was a defining moment there, because what happened was I asked my dad, why are they doing that? And I was 3, so my words, but why? And he said, they do it for their religion. And that right there was a defining moment for me. Now, I was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, so imagine the contrast. But internally, in the way that I saw that and the feelings that I had as a sensitive kid and seeing all this pain was that they were, the way I observed it anyway, was that they were doing something for someone or something else, and it was causing, in my perception, pain. And so what I think the defining moment for me was religion's not my way. And if I chose a religion, it would be love. And at a very young age, I knew that. So that was one of my defining moments. The other, and I've had several, but the other one that stands out to me was when my husband's best friend committed suicide. And we got a phone call, and he lived just very close to us, so we were right there right after it happened. And I remember driving there, and it was my husband's best friend and my son's best friend's dad who had committed suicide. And I remember driving there going, oh my God, I can't do this, because my husband, this military, tough guy, bawling, my son, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't want to do it. And I remember that was a turning point for me of, Sonny, this is happening for you. It's not happening to you. And because I just kept saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I knew I'd be the one that would be in the middle, that would try to help people put things together, because that's what I do. And I didn't want to do it. And I started saying, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. And the Spirit very strongly was like, you're the only one that can right now. And this is happening for you, not to you. And that was a defining moment for me, because in it, not after. A lot of times we can see after and go, oh, okay, that happened because of this, this, and this. I needed to hear that and know that right now, this is happening for you. So open your eyes. And those two, and like I said, there's a lot of others, but those two really stand out, because they're experiences that I think people have all the time. People deal with suicide every day. People deal with struggles with witnessing something that doesn't feel like truth for them. We're having it right now in our society, right? All over. And still honoring where they're at, but making a choice for us and being okay in that choice. So I think those are my two that come to me anyway.
Yeah, and they're profound. They are. It's amazing. It is. 4 rather than 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's.
Well, and I think even, the one when I was a child, there was always something within me that, and I think it was because of that was able to recognize and witness somebody else's pain and know that there was love behind it. And I don't know why I still don't know why that specific situation was the thing, but that was the thing that then taught me, love is your religion. Love is what this whole thing is about. And people express that or lack of it in a variety of different ways.
Isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the truth? Well, what's amazing is that as a person who has been in your own personal and family and cultural and religious holes and come out and discovered wisdom that has become a daily practice, healthy rituals that empower you to continue to live with consciousness. A real blessing for me, an honor for me, is that I was able to share the LifeLine technique with you.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was sacred, and actually some of the things that you mentioned were around that 3-year-old.
I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah. It was the age range. It was 3 years old, and I knew what it was. But I think that so often we don't always understand all the depths of things, and we don't always have to know know it. But if it comes up, it's there for a reason. And you were really helpful, because the thing that came out of that was also a time where I decided that I was different, and that I learned that I wasn't good enough, and just based on what I witnessed. So there was a part of me that's like, oh no, love's the answer. And then another part of me that goes, oh, you're not like everybody else. So you're not religious. You're not good enough. You're not whatever. And that's been a lifelong theme for me, something I've had to really, really work on and embrace and heal. And it was so great to be able to walk through the LifeLine and be able to see some of the pieces that never even occurred to me. I mean, that was a big one, but little teeny subtle things that I was like, oh my gosh, it's freaking cool.
It's wild. I've come to understand that at the core of these gifts and strange wrapping paper are memories, and these memories are not fully processed and integrated. Mm-hmm. And the reason that they're not is that we have an intelligence that says, you've got a calling here on planet Earth. And for you to fulfill it, right now, you're not able to process these emotions with this particular moment. And because you cannot process it with love, we're going to create a gap that allows you to survive, but not thrive.
Yep.
And that survival part's going to broadcast a signal, a lens, a filter that attracts more people, circumstances that match the vibrational frequency, until we wake up and say, wait, hell no, I don't choose this. My heart desires this. I choose. I am grateful. I am blessed. I am whatever it might be. I don't remember exactly what the intention was that you had, but
mine was I am peace.
I am peace. I am peace.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is that the part that says I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, and all those illusionary bullshit stories that we all have. Everyone has them.
For sure.
Everyone. It's like all of a sudden, we're able to process that memory, integrate it, grow, learn, and evolve.
Yeah.
Consciousness. Yeah, that was so cool. One of the neat things is that the LifeLine's non-content, so it's not therapy. I'm not asking you, oh, tell me this, tell me that,
Mm-hmm.
So it's really neat for you to share that, because that's
right. You don't remember all of it, so you're just kind of going with it as it's coming.
Yeah.
But it was very it's very cool to get the validation and the understanding of the things that you've had an awareness around but haven't had the clarity in. Mm-hmm. And I also think intuitively, for people that are really developing or working or embracing their intuition, one of the things I noticed that was really cool was as you were doing your process and going into different segments and sections or ages or what have you, I would hear what it was, and you would say, okay, this. And that happened every single time. It was really cool because I think all of us have intuition. We're all connected. Just because I use mine for a living doesn't mean that I'm any stronger, really. It's just I have more focused attention on it more consistently. But that was a cool validation that I bet if people started to recognize there's so many facets in the LifeLine technique that you are connecting with and gaining and understanding about you on a variety of different levels. And that one's probably unintentional. It just happens. Yeah. But it was such a neat experience overall. And most importantly, I really walked away with the recognition of also why some of the, one of the guides that I have, which is my grandfather, who we never really got along. Didn't get along. I was just kind of another of, 50 grandkids or whatever. But he was one of the ones that was one of those seed planters that came up in our session and has come back full circle as like a presence in a supportive way, because on a human level, he didn't have that capability. I was so different and it wasn't cool. And he's come back around as like he supports me from the spirit world. And I'd always be like, why are you here of all people? I was the one that was, the black sheep. And I realized it was that full circle, which was such a cool experience.
Total full circle. That is a cool experience. And as a medium, as a communicator and a seer and a bridge to the angelic realm, a teacher, why would you recommend to your students or people that have a passion or an understanding of what you do intuitively, why would you recommend learning the LifeLine?
I think that it is always helpful for us because we want to understand. I don't even think there's a client I've ever had that says, well, just help me understand this. And I think when we have an understanding around it, when we can bring it into the conscious awareness, then it transmutes the energy. And the way that the LifeLine goes about it, it's like, I love it because I call it in the back door teaching. You don't know what the right answer is supposed to be. So your conscious mind can't manipulate it.
Right.
There's no way to go, because I was that kind of kid. I was like, okay, I know what the answer is going to be, so I'm just going to say the right answer so I can, I think that a lot of times we want to be right and we want to do it the right way. And it doesn't work that way. You can't trick yourself into the right answers. And I loved that. I also love that it opens the door to so many areas that you are not, that you're not connected to, that you don't really get are motivating your choices.
Right. And
when you can start to recognize that, then you don't need to keep casting the same characters. You get to have new, not just new faces, because they keep showing up with a different face, but then you get all new characters that really will reflect to you really the truth of who you are, instead of the separation, the disconnection, the what it is you believe. And I think so many of us, and maybe I don't know if this is true or not, but my perception is often comes down to I'm not good enough. Not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And so whatever story, wherever you weaved it, if you can recognize it, then you don't have to hold that.
Right. No doubt about it. We live in a world right now that the collective consciousness of our minds has a virus of low self-esteem.
Yes.
And it is so not the truth. And people get caught into the undercurrent, the riptide of this negativity about ourselves, about what's possible. The limiting beliefs become something that we believe, and we live this lie of wearing different masks to please others at the expense of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then not only if you have the experience, but then if you learn it and you're able to offer that help and that healing to other people, number one, you can only learn more about yourself. Yeah. And it seemed to be, from my observation, although I know that there was technique in it, it seemed to really be a connectedness energetically between you and the client. So there is an intuitive aspect to it. There is a vulnerability even to it that we can only expand from.
Yeah.
And I loved that also, that you can really open up and help other people. I mean, how many of us want to be of service?
Yeah.
And there's so many techniques.
It goes back to
yours adds all of it. It's like you had the past life stuff, and you had the chakras, and you had the energy, and you had the affirmation. I was like, oh my God, it's like pulls everything together. I'm so excited.
Kid in a spiritual candy store.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, gosh, it really brings all these different pieces in together as one, instead of, okay, you do this therapy, this therapy, this therapy, this one, and then let's see how you feel at the end.
I tell you, that was the motivation behind the awakening on June 17, 2002. I'm like, people have this addiction right now of going to all these different places that give such contradictory information that people end up leaving more confused. There's got to be a way to bridge things together to get to the heart of the matter of what's broadcasting this signal, not to victimize us. We weren't born to suffer, but to awaken us to living a life where love is our religion. And I get it. That's so beautiful. I am so pumped to connect with you and see you in November at Celebrate Your Life.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Arizona. Those of you that are watching, book in to Celebrate Your Life today. You're going to love it. If you haven't been to it, it's amazing. Sunny and I will be there with all these awesome other people. And Sunny, thank you for sharing from your heart, being just in the flow of your authentic self, and just being such a bright and beautiful person inside and out. I am just so grateful and honored. And I know that people are going to gain just so much wisdom and practical things to apply to their own personal life.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate being a part of the whole experience, from the technique and the experience with you to being here and sharing. So thank you.
Well, you keep shining bright. Infinite love and gratitude, my
yes! Yes. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this Lifeline Master Series with Sunny Dawn and I as much as I have. To learn more about the Lifeline technique, click on the link below for 3 free videos. Keep shining bright. Infinite love and gratitude.